and I've gotten so many requests to make a lip syncing tutorial, how to make a lip sync engine. So I'm going to do my best to show you a few different ways that you can lip sync in your Scratch projects, and just some overall tips when doing lip syncing. So overall, there are 3 different ways. Well, there are 2 main ways that you can make that you can do lip syncing. You can edit the costumes for the mouth frame by frame. You can just do that. So I'll make a sprite called FBF frame by frame. So you can either use Bitmap or Vector for this. Personally, Bitmap can be a bit easier to maneuver, like this. And then for the tongue, like that. So you can do this using the Bitmap. Whoops. There you go. So this is just one of the most basic positions in your mouth movement. And also, I like to rename the costumes just 1, just to save memory. It just helps to do that. And then you can copy this if you'd like, and then change the position of the mouth slightly, like this. You know, you get the deal. You just fill everything in. If you, I suggest watching my vector tutorial on how I draw, how you can basically draw characters and how to use the editor in a good way. That's what I recommend you use, just so you can figure out. So this is about what it will look like, and you can obviously tinker with this however you'd like. And then for the teeth, you just use black and white like this. So you can either have the line like this on the front of the teeth, or over here. So this would be like a hard K sound, like cabbage, and this might be like a shoe or a chewy, something like that. But either way, you're going to be adding that line. I don't recommend adding a full line like this, although you can if you want, and I certainly don't recommend doing this, but again, you can if you'd like. So those are some of the most basic positions, and then we're going to show you some of the other crucial positions. So say O, or a like this, like that. So obviously you'd want to have like 2 costumes in between, 2 for each sort of position. So you might want to have a second one of these where it's just slightly altered, and then 2 of these, just so it doesn't look as choppy. And then you can adjust the timing of it as based on what you're aiming to do. So that's that one. And again, and you can also add teeth to the top of this if you'd like this, like that. And you add teeth there. Some of the other positions are the F position, so you just like this. So just add a few lines to make it look like that. So this could be F and V. Those sounds like that. And if you were drawing this in with a more positive expression, then obviously you would just draw with an upward slope like this. but it's important to get these strokes right, like that. So that's your F and V sound. And what else do we have? We have a wide O like this, so you can add teeth here. So this is about what it would look like. So this is things like otter and like things that have the ah sound. So that's what it would look like. And then we also have the L. So the way we can draw L sounds is by doing this, drawing teeth, and then drawing the tongue like that. It's important that you get the tongue right. Oops. There we go. So that's an L. And you would probably want to name all these costumes for the letters that they represent. So L, O. You don't have to do this if you're doing it frame by frame. If you're doing it for an engine, then you would want to name these costumes, and I'll show you why that's important later. So these are some of the basic positions. I'm trying to think of other ones. Oh, of course. We want the just the regular sound. So you can either have no cheek bubble or a cheek bubble, depending on the situation that's going on, and of course, depending on whether your character is facing this direction, you'd want to have the mouth tilt one way or the other, like this. Sorry, this is my my screen recorder is lagging up the program, so I might be drawing a bit strangely, but so this is for the M, the B, and the P, and if you just wanted to have neutral, then you could go like this. So that's for the M, B, and P. Just trying to think of any other. Oh, right. We have the long E sound. Like this. E. Like that. Whoop. E. So there's your E. E. Okay. So those are pretty much the basic positions that you need to use. So you got your vowels, so your A, your I, depending on, you might have to adjust these depending on the sound. So like the short sounds might, the short vowels might be a little stubbier, and you might have, to raise this if you want to have like an I. Like, see how it change, your voice will alter what the position of the mouth looks like slightly. So that's something to keep in mind. You're not going to have the same concrete pictures over and over again. So obviously you can copy these over if you'd like, for whatever whatever your character is saying. So you could just, if you have a F or a V here, and then you need to copy again, then you could just do it, but I personally recommend doing each costume by hand unless you have a lot of them. But this is one I recommend using a lip sync engine, which I will show you how to do. The reason is because if you keep copying the same costumes over and over, it can look unnatural, and you want it to look as natural as possible. That's the goal. So that's our frame by frame and those are just the basic positions that we're going to want to be using. So I'm going to show you two ways to make an engine. The first is going to be a really basic one, and the second one's going to be much more complicated. So I'm going to show you how to draw these positions in vector. So first we have our M. So depending on whether you want to have your character, your engine be a neutral expression like, sad, frown expression like, or up or positive, neutral, negative, depending on what you need to what emotion you want your lip sync to have. You'll need to alter these or do a I'm going to show you how to incorporate emotions into one sprite and one set of costumes. That's going to be the second one. But first I'm going to show you how to make a really basic engine. So you've got your M, or you could just have it like this. So we're going to call this M, just M, right? And we're going to duplicate this. We're going to call this B, and then duplicate P. So we've got M, B, and P. And then our next position is going to be the A. So we're going to draw an A. So we're going to draw our A position. So I'm going to try and make it a neutral. Well, that's kind of happy. That's pretty neutral. So like this. In this case, you have to fiddle around with the way the vector fill tool works. This is one way you can do it the way I'm showing you now. Just make a circle and fill in behind like that. And if you have your character just being black and white, then you don't really need to fill the teeth in. But if you have a character with colored skin, like mine usually are, then you'll need to color in the teeth. Otherwise, you're gonna have skin-colored teeth, and that probably isn't what you want. So we're gonna go A. So this is gonna be for long and short A. Whatever word uses the letter A, because our engines are going to be the way our engines are going to be working is by putting word inputs manually. That's how we're going to run these engines. So we're going to copy this and put an I, actually. So we're going to raise that just a little bit. AI. So it's just similar to that. And then for the E, we're going to squish it, make it like this. E, like that. Like this. So you'll just have to figure out what works for you. Like this is just making the basic costume. So there's our E. And then for the K, G, and H sounds like K, G, and H. And in cases the TH sound, we are going to, you can copy these actually and just squish them a little bit. No, squish them like this, and this you can use for your K, G, and H, or you don't have to use it for the K or the G, but usually you'll want to be using it for the H. So you can use these if it seems better. Generally you don't want to be putting the exact words into your engine when you tell the engine what to do, and we'll be looking at this in more detail when we get to the scripts. But I'll show you what I mean. You're generally not going to want you're generally not going to want to have cold turkey words and sentences the way you would normally write them, because the lip sync may come out looking very bad by using normal words. So we may have to work with them. Just add in some extra letters, or remove some, or replace letters with other letters as we're typing them in. But anyway, let's continue on. So the next we do the next we're doing the consonant, the hard consonant sounds. So here, this could be a C or a K. Actually, I'm going to remove this K here and this G as well. So we just have the H there. So I'm going to call this G and a K, just so we get the G and K and K, things like that. And then for the other consonants that use your teeth, I'm going to put the teeth line on this side, if this thing wants to cooperate. So this will be CH, SH, Z, J, T, what else? A, B, C, D. Yeah, D. Seems like it's good. We could use this for N, but I personally like to use the L for the N sound. I prefer to use it that way. Anyway, we've got Z. Let's see. Yeah. We probably should use it for the. Well, we'll just see where this goes. All right. Also C. Need to put C in there. Okay. So let's count what we have for letters A, B, C, D, E, F, and V. That's next. Alright, so we're going to name this one F, and we're going to draw the F. So we're just going to make this neutral, like this. Fill that in. That seems okay. F. Maybe a bit bigger. The lines probably need more depth to them, but anyway, we've got our F and our V. So then we've got G, H, I, J, K, L. Next is L. Let's use this here. Okay. So L. That looks good. And then I also like to use this for the N. And then we've got M and O. We didn't do O yet. But one other thing that we should put in is we should copy and paste these. Flip it. Work this around. You can draw these costumes in a number of different ways. I drew the two halves of the teeth in two different ways here. So you can draw these in any number of ways. That's not what we want. Let's bring this back. There we go. That's what we want. Okay. We also want this to go back. Alright. And now we have the tongue being clenched by the teeth. So this will be our TH sound, so the. And then we have O, Q, U, and W, and also X. Yeah, we'll just copy this and make this an X. Alright. And then we have O and W, so this we can probably scrap all of. Just make a circle. Like this. Like that. So again, you can shape this however you want. You can add teeth. You don't have to add anything. You can just have the opening of the mouth. You don't have to have the tongue or the teeth. You can do this however you'd like. So I'll add teeth. There we go. Alright, so we can call this W, Q, and we will stretch it a bit and make that an O. And I think we will just use the A as a U, just to cover the short U sound, like that. Alright, so we've got 26. We are missing some letters because we've got the ch, the. So we're missing 3 letters. Elemental P, Q, R, of course. R, S. Did I put S in here? No, I didn't. I didn't put S in here. Alright, so we'll copy that. S, oh, and also Y. So we have R and Y. So I'm just going to copy this for the R. And we can flip this upside down. You could use this for your R. Like that. So I have the teeth just coming out here. You can use this for your R. Like that. So that's our R. And then depending on what you want for the Y, you could just use this H. So yeah, like that. Alright, so we've got 29 and we've got the and sh, like that. Alright, so those are all our costumes. So now on to the scripts. So what we're going to be doing for the scripts is first we're going to make a variable. So go into data, make a variable, and we're going to call this count and make it for all sprites. It doesn't really have to be for all sprites, but just it's a bit safer to do that in case you run into difficulties. So we have this. We're going to be using a couple of these functions here. And next what we're going to want to do is create a more block. Go into more blocks. We're going to make a block. If you don't know, these are custom blocks that you can create and have functions play whenever you trigger that block to do whatever you assign it to do. So if you wanted to have a character blink, you could just have this block, and whenever whenever you have the block do its thing, your character will blink. So instead of having all the costumes going all at once or doing a repeat, you could just have the blink block being placed a couple times. So that's a really useful tool. So anyway, what we're going to be doing here, we can just call this lip sync and then go into options. And the first thing we're going to do is add a string input. and we're going to call this text for the string, and then we're going to add a number input. So if you're doing the basic version, then we're just going to be using 1, but if we're doing the more advanced, we're going to use 2, and you can just delete one of them like that. So time, so text and time, and then we're going to click OK. And here's our block, and also I'm going to call this engine 1. So we've got our block, and the first thing, we're going to get our block out here, and what we're going to be doing is under our big block here for our define lip sync text time, we're going to be setting a costume. Alright, switch costume, and this square string is where we're going to be typing our what we want the mouth to say. So if we say give me a sandwich, and we click this block, the lip sync will ask for a sandwich. He'll say give me a sandwich. Alright, so what we're going to, and then this block, this circle bubble is going to be the time, how fast we want the lip sync to go. So if you want the costumes to change really slow, quite slowly, then you would make this a higher number. If you wanted it to go faster, then you'd use a lower number. So we're not going to be fiddling with that yet. So now we are going to set the count to 0. Alright. And then what we're going to be doing is going into here and repeat, go into operators, length of text. So our text is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 characters long. So this is going to repeat how long our text is. So 18, it's going to repeat 18 times. And we are going to change count by 1. Actually, we should set the count to 0 up here, not down here. So we set the count to 0 at the start. We repeat 18 times. Change the count by 1. So every time it repeats, it's going to change this count up by 1. And then switch costume to letter count of text. We put that in there. What this is going to do is it's going to switch whatever costume letter, this is why we put the letters in for the costume names. Whatever, oh wait, did I change that? Alright. Whatever letter we have in our text, this script, the switch costume, it's going to switch the name of the costume to the letter count of text. So every time it repeats, it's going to change count by 1. It's going to go up 1 letter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The count is including spaces, by the way. So it's going to check every letter, and it's going to change the costume depending on what letter we have, and it's going to switch it to the letter we have here. And if we click on this right now, it doesn't do anything because it's just going so fast, and we can't see it. So we should also hide this, by the way. And we will change the size. We will set the size to 150. 200. Yeah, that's good. All right. So now, while we have the second bubble, we're just gonna put 0.01. We're going to wait time seconds. We're gonna put that in the repeat. And now Let me see here. Oh, I think we have to have these lowercase. Okay, all right. So I've got to change all of these. Gotta change all of these. G. But anyway, let's see here. MBMAGIE, Meiji. All right. So let's see, Meiji. There we go. So you saw down here. So if we put text in lowercase, then the costumes have to be lowercase as well. The costume name. So E, capital E will not work. Okay. So that works pretty well. I prefer to switch to the starting costume, wait, say half a second, and then we can see like that. So in this case, what we can do is we can put a bunch of A's. Yeah, and you can see it went up there. And let's see here. GK. Let's put a Z in there, just so we can have a little costume change in there. So Megsy. Yeah, so that works, right? And then at the end here, you can just switch back to M. Maggie. Like that. So that'll just switch back. And if you want, you can create new costumes create just a duplicate of this costume, name it period, exclamation point, and question mark, and you can put your punctuations in your text box. And if you want a period at the end of the sentence, it'll just switch to this costume, but I prefer having it outside just in case you want to leave the last costume on for however long and then switch to the M, or the default costume. So this is your basic lip sync engine. You can add wait times in between all these text boxes. Every time you want to create a new thing, you should just have a wait time in between and create a new text box. And if you want to have even smaller time control, then you can just put time divided by 2, so half of time, and now this is going to go even faster. Yeah, see, yeah, that's a bit faster than just this here. Oh, well, it seems like it's about the same time. But anyway, you can adjust the time there. So if we go 0.5, 0.05, as you can see, it's a lot slower. The lip sync goes a lot slower. So that is your basic lip sync engine. And also, for those costumes that we created we had 2 letters for, CH, SH, and TH. How we are going to work these out is we're going to say if, and we're going to put an and in there, right? So we're going to put this inside the repeat, so every time it's going to check for this. If equals, we're going to put 2 equal signs in, so we want to check if both things are true. If letter count of text equals T and letter count plus 1, so the letter directly after our current letter of text equals H, then switch costume to that TH. So every time, so it's going to check for this every time it repeats. It's going to check for this. So if the current letter is a T and the letter after it is an H, which we want to cue that costume, and we can copy this for the CH and the SH, and we're going to switch to those two, so SH and CH. So those are, so this is our basic